the Sports Network.
Phenomenal time. In case somebody decides to lower the boom, how do they feel about him in Edmonton? Well, look at that. He was booed every time he touched the puck. First period, it's called follow the bouncing puck. Mark Lamb finally gets a stick on it. That's his 10th of the year. It's 3-1 for Edmonton. Late in the first, look at this shot by Sean Burr of Detroit. Bill Ranford will have no chance on that one. Carson gets an assist on the goal. Take that, Edmonton fans. And they trail by 1. 5 minutes into the second, scramble in front. Ranford makes the initial save, but Steve Yzerman, the Icer, is there for the rebound. That ties the game at 3, his 31st goal of the season. Now, still in the second, John Chabot feeds the lead Norwood. Norwood streaking in. There it is. He makes no mistake on the play. And it's a 4-3 lead for Detroit going into the third. Now, Yzerman has been named once again to the All-Star team. Here's why. Killing all kinds of time, then scoring his 32nd of the season. 5-3 Detroit. They go on to win this one by a final score of 6-4. So Jimmy Carson makes a very auspicious return to Edmonton. Glenn Healy and the Islanders hosting the Vancouver Canucks out on Long Island on this night. And Healy is tested in this game. Petri Skriko gets the puck in close, but look at that save by Glenn Healy. Game scoreless. The Islanders have some chances at the other end. Pat Flatley takes the puck right out of the face-off and rings one off the post. Scoreless after 1. Bob McCammon's team's fortunes good so far, but not for long. Second period, Randy Wood will fight off a check here, and he goes to the net. Good things happen, and he beats Kirk McLean for his 12th of the season. It's the Islanders leading 1-0. It wasn't that bad a game. Come on now in the third period. And it was Hubie McDonough with a big moment in the third, breaking it on the wing, a few good dekes, and a good goal. His 9th of the year, the Islanders led 2-0. As for Glenn Healy, well, this guy was simply flat out unconscious, stopping 51 shots. That's one of the 51 as the Islanders beat Vancouver 3-0. New York just 2 points out of first place in the Patrick Division.
Well, you know, the mission for Terry Murray on Tuesday night was pretty simple. Get the Washington Capitals a win against the New Jersey Devils. Get them a point. They'd be happy. Murray was behind the Caps bench for the first time since replacing his brother Brian on Monday. Now, the Caps had lost 8 straight games. They were last in the Patrick. That was the reason General Manager Dave Poile had to make the change. And before we start the game, we'll get a quick peek at Terry Murray. Without 5 regulars in his lineup, the Caps have had a lot of injury problems. They've been weak on defense, as you can see. Ken Danico gets the goal. Still in the first, Devils leading 4-1. Jeff Courtnall, great rebound, beats Sean Bourque. It's 4-3 Jersey after 1. Stephen Leetch ties it up early in the second. Look at this shot. Rumor has it Sean Bourque still hasn't found that one. We're tied at 4, and the beat goes on. Michael Pavanka beats Sean Bourque. Washington is up 5-4. Bourque is gone. Chris Terreri is in. Here's the prettiest goal of the night. Kevin Hatcher beating Chris Terreri. It is 7-5 Caps. The fight of the night, Ken Danico and Alan May. And the larceny of the night, Jeff Courtnall picks the pocket of Slava Fetisov. Courtnall strolls in. Thank you very much. 9-6 Washington at that point. The final score. The scales really tipping in Washington's favor. 9-6, a winning debut for Terry Murray. You wonder how the Caps turned it around after they were trailing by 3 goals. Game, Craig Berube and Jay Caulfield hammering away. Penguins get the upper hand in the score sheet in the first. Paul Coffey to Robbie Brown. He moves in, beats Pete Peters. That's his 20th of the year. Penguins are up 2-0. On to the second period we go, and Shel Samuelson with a weak pass. Mario Lemieux to Brown. His 21st, 3-0 Penguins. Mario's 34-game consecutive point-scoring streak rolling right along. Flyers fight back. Murray Craven and Rick Tocchet give and go. Craven gets the goal. 3-2 Penguins. The Pens reestablish the 2-goal lead, though. Coffey to Brown. Thank you very much. Zalapsky finishes things off. 900th career point for Coffey. Penguins get sloppy in their own end here. The puck is coughed up, as the Penguins have want to do on occasion, and Murray Craven will get the goal. The final score on this one, however, Pittsburgh managing to hang on to beat the Flyers. 4-3 is the final. The Flyers winless in the month of January. They are 0-5-2.
Please. Well, the Flyers were without their newest acquisition for the game. Ken Linseman was obtained from Boston for Dave Poulin. Both are 31-year-old centers. Now, for Linseman, it's a return to the team with which he started his NHL career. In between, he played 2 seasons for Edmonton and was in his 6th with Boston. Now, Poulin's entire 7-year career has been with Philadelphia, so it's kind of natural to assume he is disappointed about leaving the city.
I realize the business of sports, and I realize the fact that when you don't win, changes are going to be made for sure, because I've seen them made over the past years. I've had a pretty great run here. You know, I think my career has been very smooth and had a lot of highlights, and obviously I'm very disappointed. I've been a Flyer for a long time, and I obviously have very strong feelings towards that.
Well, you talk about a mismatch, or at least what should be a one-sided affair. The Quebec Nordiques had Winnipeg to face the Jets. Now, the last time Quebec won a road game was November 22nd. In their last 20 games overall, the Nordiques 2-14-4, brutal. In the meantime, the Jets have really turned it around. They're one of the hottest teams in the NHL. 4 straight wins and an 8-game undefeated home record. So the Nordiques, with their work cut out for them, mind you, they have their work cut out for them in pretty much any game these days. Nordiques fall behind quickly. Mark Kumpel walks in, beats Greg Millen, his 4th. The Jets are on top 2-0. Quebec does cut the lead to 2-1, and then in the second period, Claude Loisel allowed to walk out, and all of a sudden we are tied at 2. Interesting. But Quebec's biggest problem this year has been defense. Look at this, a 2-on-none. Paul Fenton gets the goal. It's 3-2 for the Jets. However, the Jets defense doesn't exactly sparkle on this play. Look at Guy Lafleur. There he is. There he goes. And the game is tied once more. And the third period is a wild and woolly one. 7 goals are scored. This one by Jeff Jackson. He's going to get in front and tip it home. The Nordiques are up 6-4. Quebec is leading. But Winnipeg fights back again on the power play. Laurie Boschman parked in front of the goal. Takes the rebound. And we're tied at 6. But the Nordiques come back again. Jeff Jackson storming the net. Darren Kimball knocking home the rebound. And yes, Virginia, there are miracles. Quebec beats the Winnipeg Jets 8-6. The Nordiques' first road win since November. Buffalo and LA are next stop. Buffalo trying to get something going against the Kings in the early going, and they do. Mogilny, 1-1. Less than a minute later, Phil Housley will get things going for Buffalo again. Top of the circle, look at this. Oh, 2-1 Sabres. They take a 3-1 lead on Ray Shepard's second goal of the year. Wayne Gretzky steals the pass from Bodger, and the Kings are turning things around, unassisted. They pull to within 1, 3-2 heading into the third. The story of the third, though, Darren Pupa. There's one stop. There's another stop. And here's another one. Pupa was pretty well perfect in the third period, and Buffalo goes on to a 4-2 win over the LA Kings. The Kings are winless in the last 7 games. Pupa stopping 32 shots, by the way, on the way to this victory. Calgary over top of St. Louis. Final score in this one is 5-2. Suter, Gilmore, McClellan, and Makarov scoring for Calgary. The Calgary Flames tonight, they were trying to at least maintain their 1-point lead in the overall standings. They are in the midst of a great race, and they were in the midst of a strong game against Calgary. Boston just came bursting out of the gate, and Mike Vernon had to be sharp. There's a stop there. He makes another one here. And finally, Harry Galley rips one in, and Vernon like a wall across the line. Calgary gets the lone goal. Joe Nieuwendyk, his 26th. It's 1-0 for the Flames. Midway through the second period, Craig Janney will step in over the blue line to Hoggood, to Cam Neely. Lights out. That's his 33rd. It's 1-1. But the Flames quickly strike back in the power play. Mullen to Al McInnes. Trouble if you're a goalie. Just like a laser beam into the corner. It's 2-1 in favor of Calgary. 40 seconds into the third. Here come the Bruins. A one-timer for Janney that he buries. It's 2-2 later in the third. Vernon once again. Stop on Bourque. Another stop from point blank on Janney. Just a few minutes to go now. Vernon saving the best for last. Oh, snuffs Boston just one more time. No scoring in overtime. Vernon was outstanding. So was the Bruins offense. They could only squeeze 2 goals behind Vernon, however. 2-2 is the final between these clubs. The Bruins first in the overall standings. They are 6-1-2 in the merry month of January for them. The Canucks and the Flyers are next stop, and there's the Rat, number 18. Couldn't get 13, by the way. Doesn't ignite the Flyers, however. It's Norm Lacombe trying to do that. He and Rich Sutter scrapped 16 seconds into the game. That sets the stage. Now the Flyers turn on the offense. Murray Craven beating Kirk McLean. It's 1-1. The Canucks get their lead back, though. Can't reg it. Look at him. Really gets caught over on the other side of the net, and Steve Bozek gets the goal, his 4th. It's 2-1. Flyers are scrappy, though. Here's Gordon Murphy. And he beats his former junior hockey teammate, Kirk McLean, burying one in the corner. They'll talk about that after the game. Both teams have a chance to take the lead. Andrew McBain snuffed by Reggett. And then Shell Samuelson. It's tipped, and McLean still reacts. Tee it up for overtime. And in OT, Petri Skriko to Dan Quinn. And the weight just stays pinned right on the shoulders of the Philadelphia Flyers. They lose this one in overtime, 3-2 to the Vancouver Canucks. The Flyers haven't defeated the Canucks since March of 1988, and they are slumping. Well, Linsman didn't really make his presence felt that much in the game, other than the odd jab with the stick here and again. Dave Poulin, meanwhile, has indicated his displeasure with the trade. We've heard about that. Linsman, however, happy to be back where his NHL career started.
You don't earn the nickname, the Rat, for nothing. That was Ken Linsman back in 1980, one of the most annoying, pesky, sneaky players in the NHL. But that was 10 years ago, and a lot has changed. It's been 8 years since Linsman left the Flyers, but on Tuesday, the Rat came back in a deal for Flyers ex-captain Dave Poulin.
I was pretty surprised that I was coming back to Philly, but pretty excited too. My wife's from here, and I have all my business ties are still here, and even my cars still have Pennsylvania plates on them. So I was, if I was going to go anywhere, this is definitely one of the places I wanted to go. So I'm really excited.
Head coach Paul Holmgren is happy to have Linsman back in Philadelphia. The two were teammates back in the early 80s, so Holmgren is very familiar with his new centerman.
He was a little bit of a rebel back when, and I know that probably better than anybody else. But I think he's married now. He's got a family, and I'm sure he's settled down.
But has he?
I hope so.
In what way?
Well, a little calmer out there. I don't think I take as many bad penalties, that's for sure. And a little more disciplined. My life's a lot more organized and mellow, and I know what I'm doing and where I'm going.
So if Linsman isn't the Rat anymore, what is his new role with the Flyers?
As far as Kenny's concerned, I think our team needs a boost in the offensive end, and I think with Kenny's speed and his ability to make a play, he'll give us that little boost.
He's put a lot of points on the board over the years, and another playmaking centerman. I think he's going to generate a lot of offense for his wingers, and I think he'll be a great attribute to the team.
So there's a new Ken Linsman in town, but after 281 games in a Flyers uniform, surely Philly could never have left his heart, or could it?
Yeah, when you go to another team, I mean, your allegiance changes, but I've always felt something for Philly, and I'm happy to be back.
Well, the Rangers hooking up with the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. Pittsburgh goalie Tom Barrasso making his 6th consecutive appearance between the pipes for the Penguins. Now, goaltending and not Mario Lemieux's scoring, make no mistake, will be the deciding factor in how far the Penguins go this season, whether they go to the playoffs or whether they don't. Barrasso in net, his goals against average about 4.4. The Rangers get to him early in this one. Ulf Dallin using the screen here. Nobody covering him. Who's got him? Well, nobody. He beats Barrasso. That's his 8th goal. And the Rangers lead 1-0. But the Penguins come right back on the power play. Coffey takes the shot. And Tony Tonti will be on this doorstep. And Lemieux finally tips it home, his 33rd goal of the year. His scoring streak extended to 35 games. It's tied at 1. The Rangers get in a good scoring groove in the second. Sandstrom going end-to-end, swooping in and scoring on Barrasso. That's his 19th of the season. Rangers led 3-2 after 2. Third period, Zarley Zalapski with a booming shot. Who's there? Of course, number 66, Elementary. his 34th of the season. The game tied at 3. Now in overtime, Brasso played a strong period. Watch this save. Not really a great one, but he was steady between the pipes tonight, keeping Pittsburgh in the game. Lemieux extending his scoring streak to 35, the final 2-2. Make that 3-3. Okay, on to the Nordique and the North Stars. No scoring in the first period here as Michel Bergeron looks on, but Quebec's top line gets things cranked up in the second. Goulet gets it out to Stastny, and it's 1-0 for the Nordique. Minnesota quickly got that one back, though. Brian Bellows drops to Mike Modano. He sets up Don Barber. That's his 3rd of the year. It's tied at 1. Now, still in the second, Dave Mackey comes in all alone. And look what he does to Greg Millen. Beats him low to the far side. A perfectly placed shot. It's 2-1 Minnesota. Now, the cheap shot of the night, Tony McKechnie, who just runs Perry Berezan from behind. That's a penalty. But it really didn't matter because from that point on, the Stars caught fire, leading 5-2. Bellows feeds Modano. And Modano will make a nice move and snap a wrist shot by the goaltender. That's the 2nd of the night. 6-2 Minnesota at that point, and Quebec with 2 late ones. Now in the 3rd period, it stands 6-4. Elsewhere, Toronto, talk about having somebody's number this season. The Leafs have won all 5 games against the Blues. So far, it's 4-1 in the 3rd. And Detroit taking on Los Angeles. This one virtually over already in the 1st period.
Well, Hull, the name obviously synonymous.
Goes around the defense and outweights Glenn Hanlon. Kings on their way to a 9-4 win. Now the Maple Leafs keep finding interesting ways to notch victories. Last night in St. Louis, they give Jeff Reese his first start in 3 months. And
the Expos were able to sign one of their top players and make him a double millionaire. And SportsDesk goes shopping for hockey equipment for youngsters.
SportsDesk, brought to you by Canadian Airlines. Our world revolves around you. And by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. SportsDesk with Paul Romanuk and Mark Jones.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Also coming up in the next 30 minutes, a chat with Ken Linseman about his return to Philadelphia. We have some scores and results from the Australian Open, where they're starting to move into round 3. And highlights and scores from the NBA. Michael Jordan, a fantastic night against Golden State. But first, to the ice, and that's you, Romy.
You bet. And earlier this week, Boston, of course, traded center Ken Linseman to the Philadelphia Flyers, a.k.a. the Rat, although he doesn't like the nickname very much. Linseman was in the lineup on Thursday when the Flyers hosted the Vancouver Canucks. Center Dave Poulin, on the other hand, who was supposed to go to Boston, still apparently in Philadelphia, contemplating retirement. But the games go on for the Bruins, of course. They hosted the Calgary Flames on Thursday. They were trying to at least maintain their 1-point lead in the overall standings. And we'll pick things up with a look at Mike Vernon. Mike Vernon, the story in the early going of this game. Great stop here. The Bruins just come out of the gate flying. They outshot Calgary 6-0 to start the game, and Vernon was a rock. Now, Calgary with the lone goal in the first period, as irony would have it. That's their first shot on goal. Joe Nieuwendyk buries it. It's 1-0 Calgary. Midway through the second period, Craig Janney will move in to Greg Hawgood, over to Cam Neely, and Vernon not stopping that one, although he did get a piece of it. That's Neely's 33rd. It's 1-1. But the Flames come right back. Joey Mullen up the middle, and goalies hate to see this. Al McInnes with the blaster from the point. You know it's in. 2-1 for Calgary. Just 40 seconds into the third, the Bruins tie it up. They appear to go offside. The offside isn't called. The goal goes. It's Janney's 10th. It's 2-2. Later in the third, Vernon, once again, comes to the forefront. Great stop on Ray Bourque, and then stops Craig Janney. But Vernon saves the best till last. Bruins storming the net with moments to go. What a stop. No scoring in overtime, and Mike Vernon 2 and the Boston Bruins 2. What a show Vernon put on. The Bruins, by the way, ranking first in the overall standings. They are 6-1-2 in the month of January. Only Mike Vernon kept them off the win column tonight. Canucks and the Flyers, our next stop. The Rat is back, wearing number 18, not number 13 like he used to wear in Philadelphia. And a bad start to this game. Norman Lacombe and Rich Sutter hammering away. Finally, the Flyers get the offense in gear after they've scrapped a few times. Murray Craven gets the goal. We're tied at 1. The Canucks get their lead back. Steve Bozic will sneak out from behind the net. He caught Ken Reggett sort of napping over at the left-hand post. Canucks lead 2-1, but the Flyers are scrapping away. Here's Gord Murphy. beating Kirk McLean. It's 2-2 after 2. Both teams with great chances to take the lead. Andrew McBain stopped by Reagan. Shel Samuelson now with a great chance. Fires the puck. It's tipped. And Kirk McLean still makes the save. So tee it up for overtime. And in overtime, it's Petri Skriko to Dan Quinn. And the slump continues for the Flyers. They lose by a score of 3-2 in OT. Dan Quinn with the winner. The Flyers have not defeated Vancouver since March of 1988. But more importantly, they are really slumping as of late. And of course, because they're slumping is why they had to make some moves. The Linsman deal, one of those moves. Linsman didn't do much against the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Poulin, meanwhile, not doing much either. He's indicated his displeasure with the trade and isn't reporting so far. Linsman, however, very happy to be back where he started his NHL career.
You don't earn the nickname the Rat for nothing. That was Ken Linsman back in 1980, one of the most annoying, pesky, sneaky players in the NHL. But that was 10 years ago, and a lot has changed. It's been 8 years since Linsman left the Flyers, but on Tuesday, the Rat came back in a deal for Flyers ex-captain Dave Poulin.
I was pretty surprised that I was coming back to Philly, but pretty excited too. My wife's from here, and I have all my business ties are still here, and even my cars still have Pennsylvania plates on them. So I was, if I was going to go anywhere, this is definitely one of the places I wanted to go. So I'm really excited.
Head coach Paul Holmgren is happy to have Linsman back in Philadelphia. The two were teammates back in the early 80s. So Holmgren is very familiar with his new centerman.
He was a little bit of a rebel back when, and I know that probably better than anybody else. But I think he's married now. He's got a family, and I'm sure he's settled down.
But has he?
I hope so.
In what way?
Well, a little calmer out there. I don't think I take as many bad penalties, that's for sure. And a little more disciplined. My life's a lot more organized and mellow, and I know what I'm doing and where I'm going.
So if Linsman isn't the Rat anymore, what is his new role with the Flyers?
As far as Kenny's concerned, I think our team needs a boost in the offensive end, and I think with Kenny's speed and his ability to make a play, he'll give us that little boost.
He's put a lot of points on the board over the years, and another playmaking centerman. I think he's going to generate a lot of offense for his wingers, and I think he'll be a great attribute to the team.
So there's a new Ken Linsman in town, but after 281 games in a Flyers uniform, surely Philly could never have left his hearts, or could it?
Yeah, when you go to another team, I mean, your allegiance changes, but I've always felt something for Philly, and I'm happy to be back.
Well, the Rangers hooking up with the Pittsburgh Penguins on the day, and Pittsburgh goalie Tom Barrasso making his 6th consecutive appearance between the pipes for the Penguins. Now, make no mistake about it, goaltending and not Mario Lemieux's scoring will be the deciding factor in how far the Penguins go this season, if they make it to the playoffs or not. Barrasso in net for the Penguins with a goals against average of about 4.4 and then some. Well, the Rangers give him a rude welcome in the game here. Ulf Dahlin wheeling out in front to score. That's his 8th of the season, and it's 1-0 New York. But the Penguins come right back. On the power play, Paul Coffey takes the shot. Tony Tanti will tip it in front, and who's there? Number 66. That's Lemieux's 33rd goal of the year. That extends his point-scoring streak to 35 games. It's tied at 1. Now, the Rangers get a good scoring groove in the second going. This is their best goal. Sandstrom swooping in. Nice goal. Kind of a soft one, though, on Barrasso. His 19th, and the Rangers led 3-2 after 2. In the third period, Zalapsky takes the shot. Richter makes a big save, but can't haul it in. Lemieux with another goal. That's tying the game now at 3 apiece, his 34th of the season. Now, in overtime we go. Barrasso was solid between the pipes. This one, a sharp pad save, and he lowered that goals against average a bit, just allowed 3 of them tonight, and Pittsburgh and the Rangers play to a 3-3 tie. Okay, now on to another one. The Nordique and the North Stars in Minnesota. No scoring in the first period, but Quebec's top line gets things cranked up in the second. Michel Goulet gets it out to Peter Stastny, and Stastny gives the Nords a 1-0 lead. Minnesota quickly got that one back, though. Brian Bellows drops the puck to Mike Modano. He sets up Don Barber. That's his 3rd of the season. It's tied at 1. Still in the second period, Dave Mackey comes in all alone. And watch this nice shot low and to the far side. Couldn't place it any better. It's 2-1 Minnesota. The cheap shot of the night, well, goes to Tony McKechnie, just driving Harry Berezan from behind into the boards. From that point on, the Stars caught fire, leading 5-2 at this point. Bellows feeds Mike Modano, maybe finding a home now in Minnesota, starting to play a bit. A quick shot by Millen gets into the net. That's his second of the night. And it's 6-2 Minnesota at that point. They go on to win it by a score of 7-4. And what about those Toronto Maple Leafs? They've beaten St. Louis 6 times this season. Brett Hull with his 42nd of the season, the only goal for St. Louis. Thibodeau, Curvers, Pearson, and Wendell Clark for the Leafs. At the Forum in Los Angeles, the Wings defense flew the coop. And because of that, Jacques Demers was not a happy man. Guess who led the way for Los Angeles? Do you have to guess? Number 99. Robinson drops the pass to Gretzky, fakes the shot, puts it in the net up high. A beautiful goal. It's 4-1 Kings in the first. Now, watch this Gretzky setup. The great one whirls. No one can touch him as he leaves the puck for Barry Beck. And the shot is in the net, deflected by Mike Krushelnyski. It's 5-1 Kings after 1, but Detroit made a game of it. Carson on the power play, hits the post, then will get his own rebound. Got 2 whacks at it, made the second one count. The Wings come as close as 6-4.
The gap is now back to 7 between the Hawks and Leafs. Final score in Chicago tonight is 5-2. Aside from Creighton's double, Roenick, Larmer, and Bob McGill scored for the Hawks. McBain and Bradley scored for Vancouver. And with all due respect to great seasons being assembled by the Leafs and Hawks, the cream of the crop in that department is the New York Islanders. Islanders have put their turnaround together in the past month. In fact, with a win tonight or a tie in Winnipeg, Islanders could complete the worst of first story in the Patrick division. They started the day tied with Idle Jersey in first, and here's how they finished the day as we trek to Winnipeg. Check out the video evidence. Very early in the game, Gary Nyland coughs it up to Hawerchuk. Makes no mistake from a tough angle. 1-0 Jets past Glenn Healy. Hawerchuk's 15th of the season. Then in a power play, Alan Kerr to Randy Wood, who had a big night here. He's going to steam in on Bob Essensa, who had enough of this guy. 1-1, nice play right there. We move to the second period. Jets are up 2-1. And watch Doug Smale and Glenn Healy. Healy nudges him after Smale's shot is wide. And this would come to play on the next highlight very shortly after that. Smale repays Healy with the best hit of this year so far as he wipes him out. A bit of acting here, but it's a solid hit. Smale gets 2 minutes for charging. Jets were already shorthanded. With a 2-man advantage, it's Doug Crossman, number 3, with the puck right here to David Volek. And just like that, it's tied at 2 as Essensa is screened. Then with a 1-man advantage, 29 seconds later, Crossman to Wood, who lets it fly past Essensa, and it's 3-2 for the Islanders. Now with the score tied at 3, still in the second period, another power play, 8 seconds left in the period. Wood with the wraparound and the hat trick. 4-3 New York after 2. Jets have been mighty feisty at home, and more of that tonight. Jets come back. Laurie Boschman tips in a Dave Elliott shot from the point, and it's tied at 4. But Brent Sutter gets it cranked up on the next highlight, looking for that gunner, Dave Chizowski. Even as a junior, he had a dreaded shot. Watch what he does here. Kaboom. 5-4 New York is the score there. 6-4 is the final. Islanders over Winnipeg. And the Islanders now own first place all alone in the Patrick division with a 2-point bulge over New Jersey. Devils have a game in hand. Let's go over these totals. Wood with 3, Volek, Trottier, and Chizowski with the singles. Hawerchuk with 2. Fenton and Boschman with singles for Winnipeg. Randy Wood's first career hat trick. Brent Sutter accidentally kicked in the right ankle, taken off the ice late in the third period. He'll have some days to recover because we're into the All-Star break. Other action now, Washington and Buffalo. Sabres were undefeatable at home with the Capitals leading 1-0. Sabres on a power play, and Pierre Turgeon with an nifty pass to Doug Bodger. He gets one upstairs past Bob Mason, and it's 1-1. Later, the Capitals break out. Watch this behind-the-back pass. Mike Richard to John Druce. Look out. Druce puts one past Malarchuk. 2-1 for the Caps. 29 seconds after that happened, ex-Sabre John Tucker. Long pass to Jeff Courtnall. Lets it fly by Malarchuk. 3-1 Washington after 1. They got the hook out of Malarchuk. He's going to be replaced by Darren Pupa. A little later on, Mike Hartman does some dancing for Buffalo with Alan May. Turns into fisticuffs here, and poor Mike in front of the hometown fans gets his arm all wrapped up. Give the decision a split one to Alan May. Midway in the second, Sabres shorthanded. Bill Holder gives it away. Christian Ruutu to Dave Snuggerud. chips it past Mason. 3-2 after 2. Sabres tied it at 3, but Washington takes control in the third. Watch Kevin Hatcher end-to-end for the big guy, and that's his second goal of the night. This one past Darren Pupa. 4-3 Washington, and they're not done yet. Some revenge here for Mr. John Tucker. Traded to Washington about a month ago. Dale Hunter to Tucker. Great night against his former teammates. Nice goal. 5-3, 6-3 is your final. Kevin Hatcher had 2, singles to Drews, Courtnall, Tucker, and Ridley. Bodger had 2 for Buffalo, a single to Snuggerud. Terry Murray 2-0 as coach of the Caps. Other action now, Calgary and Hartford tied at 3. They couldn't do anything in overtime. Holy Makarov, Roberts, and Brian McClellan scored for the Flames. McClellan 7th.
Berg trying to drop it back. Bergman routes it, and he scores! Bergman! Hey, what do you say? The Indians get on the scoreboard. 9:28 left to go, second period. Parks now really playing strong tonight. Inside for LeBrun. Man free in front. It's Berg. LeBrun holding that puck in front. But Parks, he slots it home! Indians take a 2-1 lead. Greg Parks finishing that one off. Goalie now just steers it back in the main end. Jeffrey trying to make the play. Held in by DeMaio. Walsh back for DeMaio. DeMaio now holding. Shooting. Jeffrey kicks it aside. Walsh in front for Dahlman, who shoots. And he scores! Oh, Dahlman gets a much-deserved goal. The Indians lead it 3-1.
And Springfield wins it 5-2. The Hershey Bears and Newmarket Saints are both in a battle to catch Utica for the 4th and final playoff spot in the AHL Southern Division. Hershey's Brian Dobbin bangs in a goal-mouth pass to tie it at 1. But Newmarket's Derek Longill delivers a bomb to make it 3-1 Saints after 2 periods. But in the third, Hershey bags 3 goals in less than 4 minutes to take a 4-3 lead. Don Biggs from a sharp angle. Mark Freer, a nifty move, sets up Ray Allison. And Chris Jensen with a blistering drive off the wing gives Hershey the lead. Newmarket thinks they've tied it here, but referee Lance Roberts says, no way, boys. Peter Inachek eventually does tie it, and this one ends 4-4. Adirondack at Moncton, where the Wings battled the Hawks in a rough one. Here, Moncton's Dallas Eakins and Adirondack's Torrey Robertson have a slight disagreement. Let's pick up the action with the Wings down 3-1 in the second period. Rookie Corey Kosher picks up a loose puck, skates in and makes a nifty move before he roofs one over Moncton's Tom Draper. That makes his score 3-2. In the third, the Wings take control of this hockey game. Dale Krentz bangs home a rebound to tie it at 3. And just 3 minutes later, Brent Fedek finds Glenn Murkowski open in front, and Murk gives Adirondack the lead and the victory, 4-3. Now this time it's the Cape Breton Oilers in to visit the Moncton Hawks, and Jean LeBlanc gives Cape Breton an early 1-0 lead as he rips his power play marker on the short side. Cape Breton goes up 2-0 as Tom Lehman takes a pass in the slot and snaps it home. But Moncton ties it up before the end of the period. Guy LaRose banks one in from behind the net to cut the lead in half. Then Brent Hughes ties it late in the first on a low screen shot, number 28 of the year for Brent Hughes. In the second, Cape Breton regains their 2-goal lead. First, Norm McIver on a great move. Then, just 53 seconds later, Dan Curry makes it 4-2 Oilers. But Moncton comes back again. Chris Norton makes it 4-3 on a long blast from the left point. Brian Erickson pulls Moncton even 4-4 after 2 periods, and after a scoreless third, we head to OT. And just 51 seconds into overtime, Bugsy Erickson wins it 5-4 Moncton. We head back to Cape Breton for a rematch. Mike Ware gets a puck up to Fabian Joseph, and he snaps one past Draper, 1-0 Oilers. But just 43 seconds later, Scott Schneider bangs home a rebound to tie it at 1. Peter Soberlak slides one home, making it 2-1 Oilers. But Brian Erickson stuffs home a rebound to knot the score at 2 after 40 minutes. In the third, Brent Hughes hammers a low point shot home in the power play, making it 3-2 Moncton. But Thomas Kapusta sets up the goal of the night. He makes a great move, and then Tim Tisdale has no problem finding the empty net. But Brian Erickson again is second of the night with only 1:20 left, gives Moncton a 4-3 win. The competition is heating up in the Export A Inc. Maritime Challenge Cup. Moncton has regained the lead with 25 points. That's 2 better than the Cape Breton Oilers. The Halifax Citadels are just 5 back. With the playoffs around the corner, it's a 5-team battle for the final 2 playoff spots in the Northern Division. With 4 wins last week, Springfield made the biggest jump from last place to 3rd. In the South, only 3 points separate the top 4 teams. Newmarket and Hershey have an outside chance, but time's a wasting away. And bingo, see you on the golf course.
Lemieux with the shot from in close. Reese with the great stop. Shot from in close. Reese with the great stop. Lemieux just 1 shot on goal in the second. Reese with 25 stops. But these fans better get their signs away. 51 seconds into the 3rd period. Lemieux slips away from everybody. Waits. Beats Reese up high, and the streak is alive. 42 games, but the Penguins trail 5-2. Toronto continues to control the scoreboard. Look who finishes off this nice passing play. It is Brian Curran. Lemieux was supposed to be shadowing him, but he obviously didn't do a good job there. Final score, Toronto 8-4. Winners over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Danfus with a couple of goals and a couple of assists. Brett Hull and the Blues hosting the Red Wings. Detroit has won 3 in a row, their longest winning streak of the year. Hull explodes in the second period. Paul Cavallini passes to Adam Oates. Oates fields Hull. Hull's 48th goal of the year, 1-0 for the Blues. Later in the second, the Blues on the 2-on-1. Hull takes the shot. No, to Sergio Momesso. Puts it upstairs. Everybody thought Hull was going to take the shot. That's why Momesso was so wide open. 3-1 Blues. Still in the second. Look at the shot by Hull. Nice stop by Hanlon. He feels the pain, and the puck goes up and just over the goal line. Hull's 49th goal, 4-1 for the Blues. You know, Brett Hull's already got 49 goals. Bobby Hull, in his best scoring season, only scored 58. That is going to drop, I'm sure. On now to the Spectrum, the Flyers and the North Stars. Paul Holmgren and the Flyers leading 3-2 late in the first period. On the power play, Rick Tocchet centers to Pelle Eklund in front of the net. Eklund goes to the backhand. Nice move. 4-2 Philadelphia after 1. Eklund strikes again early in the second. 2-on-1 with Terry Gartner. Watch this. The puck will go off Sean Chambers' stick and through John Casey's legs. 6-3 Flyers after 2. All right, cue the Minnesota comeback. Holmgren and the Flyers outshot 15-1 in the 3rd period. Aaron Broughton pulls the Stars to within 1, banging in this rebound. His 3rd as a North Star, and it's 6-5 Philadelphia. Then with just 4 seconds left in regulation time, Dave Gagne is pushed into Ken Regan. Mike Gartner's shot finds the net. Game's tied at 6. We go to overtime. Busy afternoon for Regan. He faces 52 shots. Great save here on Brian Bellows. Gets just enough of it to direct it over top of the net. With time running down in overtime, Eklund to Tocchet to Bullard into the net. Just 9 seconds left in overtime. A big win for the Flyers. 7-6 the overtime win. The North Stars outshot the Flyers 52-23. Unbelievable result in this game. The North Stars, I say, tremendously outshooting the Flyers, but couldn't pull off the win.
Well, next we've got a great Adams Division rivalry for you. The Sabres against the Canadiens at the Montreal Forum. Buffalo has the 2nd best record in the NHL right now. They've won 3 in a row and 5 straight on the road. As for the Canadiens, they were 6 points back of the 2nd place Sabres in the Adams Division. They were trying to close that gap just a bit on Saturday at the Forum. Rick Dudley, his Sabres, they are not used to looking down at the Canadiens in the standings. One reason the Sabres are playing so well, great goaltending. Clint Malarchuk, he robs Mats Naslund. No score after 1 period. The Canadiens do get to Malarchuk in the second. Stéphane Richer picks up the puck, breaks in. He beats Malarchuk, 32nd of the year, 1-0 Montreal. Malarchuk continues to play well. Mats Naslund sets up Claude Lemieux. Malarchuk stones him. Pat Burns has the hottest goalie on this night, Patrick Roy. Pierre Turgeon has the breakaway, gets in close, and Roy will shut the door on him as he earns the shutout. The Canadiens beat the Sabres. Final score there, 1-0. Patrick Roy, 29 saves. He gets his 2nd shutout of the season. An afternoon game. Roger Nilsson and the Rangers in Boston to play the Bruins. No score in the first period. Early second, Craig Janney's shot is stopped. Cam Neely jumps on the rebound, slides in his 38th. It's 1-0 Bruins. New York had a lot of scoring chances, but Reggie Lemelin was equal to the occasion. Here, Brian Mullen comes down the left side. Lemelin tips out the shot. Brian Leetch with the rebound. Lemelin again there with the save. Boston's Graham Townsend, watch, he performs the mugging of the day as he attacks Chris King of the Rangers. New York managed to tie the score in the second. Leetch's shot from the point is stopped by Lemelin. But watch, Reggie can't find the puck. Great camera angle here. That is Kerry Wilson, who spots it all alone, and he just pokes it in. Game tied at 1. Ranger goalie John Van Beesbroek, he was also shocked. He robs Bourque here. Cam Neely moves in, but Van Beesbroek stops him on the rebound as well. On to the third period. Ranger captain Kelly Kissio sends a quick pass to Joe Mullen. He snaps home his 17th of the year. 2-1 New York, and that's the way this one finished. 2-1 the final score. Actually, that was Brian Mullen, not Joe Mullen. Got the wrong Mullen brother there. 5-1 the final in this one. Hartford putting it to Quebec. Those struggling Nordiques, they have lost 9 of their last 10 games. They continue to struggle. You'll remember on Friday the Nordique fired general manager Martin Madden. Well, on Saturday they decided to axe assistant coach Guy Lapointe as well. New general manager Maurice Filion said he offered Lapointe another job within the Nordique organization, but Lapointe refused it. Now, a replacement is expected to be announced on Sunday. There is speculation that Robbie Ftorek, the former Los Angeles Kings head coach, will be promoted from the AHL farm team, the Halifax Citadels.
1-0. Tonight, he was up against another great defensive team, so you wouldn't expect a lot of scoring in this game. And that's exactly what happened. The story, some great goaltending and some great defensive play. Patrick Roy gets some help from his defender here. Guy Carbonneau dives in front of the shot. Can't find the puck. Hey, where's the puck? Where is it? It's in his pant leg. It's a little bit embarrassing. Then things get a little rough in the first period. Shane Corson and Grant Jennings go at it. Both players getting a couple of good shots. Finally, in the second period, the scoreless draw is broken. Russ Courtnall from the corner. Nice little backhand of Mike McPhee, who was coming in. Puts it by Sidorkiewicz. 1-0 for the Habs. Third period, Montreal gets some breathing room. Brent Gilchrist bats down the puck. The Whaler defenseman will get turned inside out, and Gilchrist puts it through. Sidorkiewicz pads 2-0. Things just did not go well for Hartford on the night. Chris Chelios' stick makes contact with something other than the puck. Cale Anderson goes down like a rock, but survives. The Habs go on to win this one 2-0. Patrick Roy gets his second shutout in as many nights and leads the league in goals against average. No surprise there. Montreal always with a great goaltending from their players. Okay, Buffalo, our next stop. Glenn Healy and the Islanders are visiting. First period action. Healy is just superb. Alexander Mogilny with a good chance here. Healy makes a stop. Mogilny can't control it. Healy stopping 20 shots in the first. 0-0 to score. In the second, it's Darren Pupa's turn to shine. New York, 3-on-1 break. Brad Lauer keeps it, and Pupa grabs it and hangs on after 2. It's still 0-0. Third period, Lauer gets another chance at Pupa, but look at this. Pupa just stretches. Lauer puts it wide. He had Pupa beat. Buffalo gets another chance. Healy, Pierre Turgeon rolls out the stick. Okay, this is getting a little bit ridiculous now. Just 4 minutes left. Derek King gets a chance now. The rebound comes out to King. King puts it over Pupa. Pupa, no chance. Glenn Healy with 39 stops in the game and earns the shutout. Unbelievable. The final score 1-0. A great defensive battle. Now the Islanders are unbeaten in their last 4 games.
Well, as expected, the Quebec Nordiques completed their front office shakeup today, promoting Robbie Ftorek from their AHL farm team in Halifax to replace Guy Lapointe as the team's assistant coach. There's even speculation that Ftorek could end up replacing head coach Michel Bergeron if the Nordiques don't start winning a few hockey games. They were riding a 7-game losing streak as they hosted the Boston Bruins this afternoon. Minor league veteran Scott Gordon was called up. He got the start in net against the best team in the NHL, the Boston Bruins. And there's a look at the minor league journeyman, Scott Gordon, starting for Quebec. And he was sharp early on. Big scramble in front. Cam Neely picks up the puck, but Gordon is there with a great save on his shot. Soon after, the Bruins had another great chance. Bobby Carpenter lets one go from the slot. Again, Gordon with the save. Midway through the first period, look at the shots on goal. 15-2 for Boston. Bruins got on the scoreboard. Late in the first, Ray Bourque will fake the shot. His pass goes off Tony McKegney's stick right to Dave Christian. He scores his 10th. It's 1-0 Boston. The Bruins outshot Quebec 26-4 in the period, but scored just once. Early second, Quebec ties the score. Great passing on the power play. Michel Petit to Michel Goulet in front of Darren Kimball. That's his 5th goal of the season. But Boston got that one back. Cam Neely starts the play. He draws it back to Don Sweeney. Sweeney finds John Carter alone at the side of the goal. 2-1 Boston. The Bruins go on to beat Quebec. There you see the final, 3-2. The Bruins outshooting them. Look at that, 52-17. Scott Gordon facing a lot of rubber in the Quebec goal tonight, or this afternoon rather.
The Rangers got some bad news today. Brian Mullen had to be hospitalized because of an infected foot, but he should be back in a couple of days. New York's been tough to figure out this season. They had a great start, then they took a nosedive in December. Now they've only lost 1 in their last 9 games. Fortunately for New York, the Patrick division has just been fairly brutal this year, so they're still in the race. They were 3 points out of first place when they hosted the Minnesota North Stars tonight at home. And of course, Pierre Pagé a little bit worried about his North Stars. They're on a 2-game losing streak, and they fall behind in this one. 2-1 Rangers in the second. Brian Leetch centers it to Nicholls. He spins around and puts it through the legs of Daniel Berthiaume. 3-1 New York. But Minnesota fights back. Mark Tenorti and Troy Millette go at it. Look at that, nice hit. Then Brian Bellows makes some moves and gives the puck to Mike Modano. Modano puts it in for his second of the night, 5th power play goal of the game, 3-2 for the Rangers. North Stars tie it up, though. Brian Bellows sneaks out from behind the net and slaps in the loose puck. His 35th, game's tied at 3. Less than a couple minutes later, Bernie Nicholls leaves it for Darren Turcotte. The blast beats Berthiaume, and the Rangers regain the lead 4-3 this time. The North Stars with some valiant attempts late in the game, but Mike Richter shuts the door. Great rookie season for Richter. Richter and the Rangers move into second in the Patrick with a 4-3 win over Minnesota. The Rangers 6-1-3 in their last 10 games. Not bad at all. Now to Washington, the Oilers and the Capitals. 1-1 tie at the start of the second when Peter Klima gets things rolling. Bob Mason stops Jari Kurri. Look at this. 2 great stops. The puck goes into the corner. Mason goes out of his net. The puck comes back to Klima. Klima puts it in. 2-1 Edmonton. Klima also originally gets the credit for this goal. Steve Smith takes the shot from the point. It gets deflected by Mason. But watch, you see the replay, the shot actually hits Rod Langway's stick and never really makes it to Klima. Then it goes through Mason's legs. John Muckler and his Oilers have a 3-1 lead. Fairly comfortable lead. But the Caps come back. Steve Leetch scores late in the second, and then on the power play, Michael Pavanka unloads, and it's tied at 3. Pavanka scores again to put the Caps ahead, but the Oilers tie it up, and we go to overtime. 1:47 left, and Mark Messier streaks in, feeds Jari Kurri, all alone. Mason, no chance at all. Edmonton wins a great one. Final score in overtime, 5-4, the Oilers over the Capitals. Just a great result there for the Oilers in OT. The Caps outshot the Oilers in this game, actually, 38-26.
Our next stop is the Winnipeg Arena. The Jets hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. The Hawks have already beaten the Jets twice this year, and you have to believe the Jets head coach Bob Murdoch has just a little bit of a chip on his shoulder when it comes to playing Chicago. You'll remember they fired him 2 years ago, not because he was doing a bad job, but simply because they wanted Mike Keenan, who was available at the time. And there's a look at Bob Murdoch looking for some revenge against the Blackhawks. First period, Jets open the scoring. Doug Smale with the beautiful pass to Dave McElwain. He beat Jacques Cloutier. It's 1-0 Jets. Second period, score tied at 1. Doug Smale takes the pass rather from Pat Elliott. No defense anywhere in sight. 2-1 Jets. 21 seconds later, Paul Fenton misses on the first try, but makes no mistake on his second. 19th of the year, 3-1 Jets. It's 5-3 Jets after 2. 14 seconds into the third, the Jets put the game away. Cloutier makes the first save, but Greg Kozlowski is there putting the rebound. Jets up 6-3. They added one more, make the final in this one 7-3. Brent Ashton with a goal and 3 assists. Paul Fenton had 2 goals, his 19th and 20th of the year for the Jets. 7-3 the final. Elsewhere, second period action in Vancouver. It is 2-1 New Jersey. Dan Quinn has just scored for the Canucks. They still trail Jersey in the second. Detroit Red Wings forward Bob Probert is scheduled to be released from jail on Monday after serving a 3-month prison term on cocaine smuggling.
6 goals in 6 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs, so the odds pretty good. Cicerelli with a goal right here. That's 1 for him. It's 7-1. And then Cicerelli with his second of the night. It's 8-1. And Cicerelli, how about a natural hat trick? It's 9-1. And Cicerelli again. This guy's like a bad smell. He won't go away. 4 goals. And Quebec smells pretty bad. 12-2, the final. Washington over top of Quebec. You hate to kick a team when they're down, but boy, you have to laugh, because if you don't, you'll cry if you're a Nordiques fan. Mario Lemieux trying to extend his consecutive point-scoring streak in a game against the New York Islanders. Penguins up 1-0, and Lemieux sets up Troy Loney. So much for the suspense. It is 2-0 for Pittsburgh. The Islanders' big sniper Pat LaFontaine had a big night, though. Stole some of Mario's thunder. That's not easy to do. The score's tied at 3, and LaFontaine working the back of the net like Wayne Gretzky, feeding it in front to Crossman, who gets that. 4-3 with the score tied at 4. Lemieux and Coffey working around. Lemieux driving one in off of Fitzpatrick. His 41st. It's 5-4 Pittsburgh. Minutes later, Lemieux does it again. 6-4 Pittsburgh. And with the score 6-5 Penguins, Derek King will lay it in for Pat LaFontaine. And LaFontaine, from the slot, he is deadly. His third of the game, his second hat trick of the season. After regulation, the score is tied at 7. It's OT, and Don Maloney with the winner. So Mario Lemieux does extend his consecutive point-scoring streak, but Pat LaFontaine and Derek King both get hat tricks for the New York Islanders, and they beat the Pittsburgh Penguins by a score of 8-7. Take that, Mario. And winner of the game had Boston over top of Detroit. The final score in this one is 2-0. Andy Moog with his third shutout of the season. He only had to turn aside 14 shots, however, so it was an easy shutout.
12-2, wow. Winnipeg Jets president Barry Shenkarow says a group of California-based investors has offered to buy the team. Now, Shenkarow also adds that the team is in Doug Wilson, and at the top it is Jamie McCowan of the Calgary Flames. Okay, now to the NBA, and just another regular season. In comes Pokey Reddick. Devils lead 1-0. About 10 minutes later, New Jersey's Jamie Huscroft catches Kevin Lowe in the face with the stick. Lowe leaves for some medical attention, but the Oilers now have a 5-minute man advantage. And it doesn't take long before the Oilers get on the board, too. Vladimir Ruziska scores his 5th of the year, beats Sean Bourque to the far side. Still about 3 minutes left on the major penalty. That's when Jari Kurri makes it 2-1 Edmonton. Tikkanen with a shot from the slot, tipped in by Kurri. Edmonton scoring twice on the 5-minute major. They lead 2-1 after 1. Meanwhile, Pokey Reddick was simply sensational, sticking out the big pad here. Nice save. He was pretty much the difference in the game, but with just seconds to go, the Oilers clinging to a 1-goal lead. Craig McTavish gets called for a delay of game penalty. And you see him cover the puck with his hands. Coach John Muckler really can't believe the call. The Devils now with a 2-man advantage, just 9 seconds left. And here's what happens. Bruce Driver with the shot from the point. Reddick with the save. Sundstrom bangs it home. Devils tie the game with just 3 ticks left. The game ends 2-2. And the final horn sounded. Muckler wasted no time in getting out onto the ice, continuing to give referee Paul Stewart an earful, letting him know about that penalty call that he made, the delay of game call. The final count, 2 apiece, Edmonton and Jersey.
If you're a Quebec Nordiques fan, I'm really sorry, but I have to pull out an old riddle to get into the Quebec-Washington game because it applies. How many Quebec Nordiques defensemen does it take to stop a rush? Nobody knows. Just watch. They have an awful time tonight. Scott Gordon rolling out the welcome mat for everybody who is cranking it up for Washington. First period, Scott Stevens scores 1-0. John Tucker comes in, and Tucker scores. It's 2-0. And keep it rolling. Here comes Mike Ridley, shorthanded. He scores. The scoring parade continues at the expense of Quebec. Kelly Miller will come in on the breakaway, and he scores. It's 4-1. Stephen Leetch parked in front of the net. Where are the checkers? Is anybody covering these guys in front of the goal? It's 5-1. Michael Pavanka from the circle, and Pavanka scores. It's 6-1. In the second period, the best is yet to come. Dino Ciccarelli with his first of the night. It's 7-1. And then Dino Ciccarelli with his second of the night. It's 8-1. And then Dino Ciccarelli with his natural hat trick. It's 9-1. In the third, Ciccarelli again. This guy's like a bad smell. He won't go away. All over the Quebec Nordiques. The final score, 12-2. I hate to laugh at Quebec, but they have the worst defense in the league. They have weak goaltending, and I guess you have to laugh or you would cry if you're a Quebec fan. Boston and Detroit are our next stop. Steve Yzerman, the offensive catalyst for Detroit. He's in on 44% of their offense this year, and you see how closely they check him. That is the kind of treatment he has to take game in and game out. Talk about frustration. Glenn Wesley beating Glenn Hanlon from outside the blue line, his 6th. The Bruins are up 1-0. Next is Alan Peterson. They call him the Comet because he scores about as often as Haley's Comet appears. His first goal in almost 3 years. His second NHL goal ever. The Bruins lead 2-0 on a couple of softies. The final is 2-0 Boston over top of Detroit. pretty good defense on the part of the Bruins. Andy Moog picks up the shutout. He only faced 14 shots.
Well, the Los Angeles Kings without their head coach Tom Webster tonight as they travel to Calgary. A strange season for Los Angeles. Now even the coach is on the injured list. Webster has an inner ear problem and will be out for 2 weeks. So the two co-coaches behind the Kings bench, Cap Rader on the right and Rick Wilson on the left, replacing Webster for one night. Are two heads better than one? Well, we don't know, but have a look at this first period. Makela sets up Tonelli on the left side. Tonelli scores, but he is hurt on the play. Now on the replay, watch Tonelli's head get hit by Gary Suter's right knee. He has to leave the game, apparently a little woozy, but okay. Second period we go, game tied at 1. Gary Roberts displays this really nice move, zips a shot past Gosselin, and it's 2-1 at that point. And Calgary tacked on another, but so did Los Angeles. So the score now stands 3-2 in the second period. One more score to show you from Vancouver. Vancouver trailing Winnipeg 2-1 in the first period of play. Well, speaking of Winnipeg, Jets president Barry Shenkarow says a group of California-based investors has offered to buy the team. Shenkarow also adds the team
block tonight with Washington written across it. Mario has already overcome that roadblock a few times in games 11, 12, 16, 23, 25, and 33 of his streak. Obviously, no problem handling the Capitals. Tonight he faced a rookie goaltender and the checking of Washington's #1 center, Mike Ridley, at times. He also had to deal with the checking of Dale Hunter. Hunter was in his back pocket a number of times, but no problem for Mario the Magnificent. First period action, Pens in the power play. No sign of Hunter here because Lemieux just tees it up from the point. 1-0, that's a point in 44 straight games. He keeps rolling on. Big number 66. 39 seconds into the second, Mike Ridley up along the boards and shovels home the backhander. Somehow finds its way in. It's 1-1. Still in the second period, it's 3-1 for the Caps, and Mario leads the rush, draws a couple of Caps over, and Tony Tanney finishes things off. It's 3-2 for the Capitals. On to the third period we go. It's 6-5 for the Penguins. Mario and Mark Recchi work the give and go, and Recchi gets the goal. 7-5 for Pittsburgh after that. Lemieux and Coffey with 4 points each. Pittsburgh with the victory. Once again, Mario extending his consecutive point-scoring streak onwards and upwards to 44 games. The Islanders at Philadelphia are next stop. Paul Holmgren and the Flyers looking for their third win over the Islanders this year. Islanders are up 1-0 in the first. Randy Wood finds Brian Trottier, and it just gets across the goal line. 2-0 Islanders. Late in the first, Flyers get a controversial one. Bullard puts it in off of Tim Kerr. Now, they say that Tim Kerr kicked it in, but it counts. It's 2-1 Islanders. In the second now, Philly gets another funny one. Shel Samuelson lets the wrist shot go. It appeared to go off the crossbar, but it counts. Late in the second, Flyers take the lead. Samuelson shooting from the point, Mellamy tipping it. Nothing controversial about that one. Late in the third, 5-4 Flyers. Islanders pressing, and Randy Wood to Doug Crossman beats Reggett. 5-5 is the final score in this one. They go through overtime clean. Pat LaFontaine picking up 3 assists. Rick Tocchet and Keith Acton scoring for Philadelphia, along with Kerr, Samuelson, and Mellamy. Wood, Trottier, Norton, McDonough, and Crossman rounding things out for the Islanders.
Okay, now to the Garden in Boston, with the Bruins hosting that juggernaut called the Quebec Nordique, tongue-in-cheek, of course. The Nords are flat-out terrible, losing their last game 12-2. Quebec goaltenders are seeing so many pucks they'll be checking into rubber rehabilitation soon. Now, to make matters worse, Quebec is the lowest scoring team in the NHL. Boston, on the other hand, the best defensive team. Greg Millen starting in goal for Quebec, poor soul, and the Nords fell behind early. Millen makes the first save off Don Sweeney, but Peter Duris scores on the rebound, his second. It's 1-0 Boston. Now, late in the first, the Bruins go up by a pair. Duris goes around the Quebec goal, feeds John Carter right there. That's Carter's 10th goal of the season. Now with Boston up 3-0 in the second, Glenn Wesley flips a shot at Millen, and watch this. Soft goal or what? Yeah, probably. It's 4-0 Boston, and the onslaught continues. Quebec does get one back in the second, though. Ken McRae intercepts an Alan Peterson pass, steps in, beats Lemlin to the far side. The Nords trail. It's now just 4-1. On to the third now. The Bruins on the power play. Glenn Wesley in deep sets up Cam Neely. Neely scoring his 39th of the season. Another loss, the Nords' 10th straight goal loss. Boston winning by a score of 5-1. Sam St. Laurent goal for the Red Wings against the Chicago Blackhawks, wearing the old Jason mask. And that's appropriate because he's part of a massacre. First period, Dirk Graham picks up the pass off the boards, beats St. Laurent, his 13th. It's 2-1 Chicago after 1. St. Laurent is replaced by Glenn Hallen after 1 period. Steve Chason gets hot for the Wings in the second, 2 assists. This time he picks it up behind the net and beats Chevrier, his 13th. But Graham is hotter on the breakaway. He beats Hanlon here. Nice deke, Chicago leading 6-4. Now Steve Thomas also has a big game for the Blackhawks. Jeremy Roenick makes the steal. Thomas will move in and get the puck in the slot, put the puck in the net. His 25th of the season. That made it 7-5. Chicago gains 2 points on Toronto in the Norris Division by virtue of an 8-6 win. Elsewhere, Winnipeg in Los Angeles tonight. 0s on the scoreboard in the first period. We'll have an update for you later in the show.
You know, to say that Dale Hawerchuk wasn't playing well, I think was looking at a very small part of the picture. He wasn't at all. Most people pegged the Winnipeg Jets to be sitting in the Smythe Division basement rather comfortably by this point of the season. And in turn, I think most people picked the LA Kings to be battling for a share of first place in the Smythe. But the Jets are playing way above expectations. Very good hockey. And entering this game 3 points ahead of the Los Angeles Kings. Who would have guessed it? Well, probably this young fan who's, I have a feeling, a Jets diehard. He's made the trek down to LA to watch his heroes play. And he doesn't like the way this one starts because it's Dave Taylor walking around Freddie Olesen to make it 1-0 LA. In the second, superior team play by the Jets. Dale Hawerchuk, who's really come alive, beating Greg Paslowski. It's 2-1 Winnipeg. And then Doug Smale gets his second of the period. Mario Gosselin gets a piece of it, but look at it kind of squirt right through. 3-1 for the Winnipeg Jets. Goaltender Bob Essenza also a big part of the story. Tonelli set up perfectly, and Essenza with a great save. On to the third period. Jets are up 5-1, 2 minutes to go, and Laurie Boschman, whoa, a little face massage with the blade, and all the boys get in on it. Winnipeg wins this game. The final.
Over the line, closing, holding, shooting, scoring! LaFontaine took the puck from him. Look at the moves by LaFontaine. He scored!
Presenting Hockey Week, an inside look at all the action of the NHL. Our show begins with the Patrick Division. Focus on Mario Lemieux, a center of attention as the most prolific scorer in the game today.
This drop pass to Coffey. He's got some room. Got a man Lemieux in front. He's there. He shoots and scores! Mario Lemieux from Paul Coffey. Oh, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. Mario Lemieux. Whoa.
The pass in front. Here's the drive there. Puppa makes the save. Another shot. A backhand drive. And Lemieux scores. 39 games, and he ties Gretzky's mark at 85-86.
Coffey has Cullen cutting for the goal. Goes to Lemieux. He's there. His shot. He shoots and scores. Mario Lemieux ties it for the Pens. Make it 41 for Mario. Oh, hallelujah, Hollywood.
It seems like Mario Lemieux can never win. As he closes in on Wayne Gretzky's 51-game scoring record, his Penguins have been faltering. Yet scoring and winning should go hand in hand, at least theoretically.
I think that goes together. If I go out there and get 2 or 3 points every night, my team has a chance, a better chance.
The soldiers on despite a continually bothersome lower back problem. Against the New York Islanders recently, Mario kept the streak alive with an assist on the Penguins' second goal of the night. But this back-and-forth game really seemed to hinge on a high-sticking major that was assessed to Alan Kerr in the third period. That's when the Pens wrote a compelling act for a smash-hit power play.
Back it goes to Coffey, to Lemieux, to Coffey. Coffey beats Lemieux. He shoots, he scores! Wow, what a shot by Mario Lemieux. Brown puts it in the middle. Lemieux with a shot, he scores! 3 Count them, 3 power play goals on this major penalty. The Islanders paying the price. The Penguins led 6-4 at this point, but on this night, the goals were flowing freely. Just as suddenly, Derek King and Pat LaFontaine answered back for the Islanders. Derek King crisscrossing with Wood, sets up LaFontaine, he scores! That's 3 for LaFontaine, and the Islanders are even at 6-6. Down the left side comes Derek King. King cuts into the backhand, he scores! It's the Islanders 7, the Penguins 6. You're wrong if you thought it was over. Mario's 5th point of the game was this assist on John Cullen's goal that tied the contest with little more than 2 minutes left. And in overtime, Don Maloney upstaged all the scoring stars. Drop pass to Nyland, left side, Maloney shoots, he scores! Don Maloney wins it in overtime. Pittsburgh's record since the All-Star break, 3 wins, 6 losses. For Mario and the Penguins, the ultimate result is too often pointless. A beautiful morning in Philadelphia, 11 a.m. to be precise. An early face-off to accommodate the setup for a charity event the next day. 11 a.m. Time for a contest between the North Stars and the Flyers. On this morning, the goal scorers were early risers, while the defense never got its wake-up call despite some alarming play. Chopped around by Chambers, out for Eklund from Tocchet. Score! Moving up with Gartner, 2-on-1. Eklund controls, score! And it may have gone off the North Star, but it'll be credited to Eklund. Whirled right over for Murphy to deal it along the through Kerr. Casey out, fans on it, Tocchet around, score!
This baby is turning into a Minnesota nightmare, and a Flyers dream come true.
Late in the second period, Philadelphia led Minnesota 6-2. But that's just about the time that the North Stars finally saw the light of day. McRae walks right in on a backhander. Stick save made by Reggett. Rebound. They score! Minnesota trailing by 2. Ahead with this to dump it in is Gagne. First one there is Gartner. Spun it to the crease. They score on the rebound. Down to the last 15 seconds. Modano kicks it behind, gets it back again from Gartner. Beats over for Murphy, he's checked off. Down to the last 8, it's Chambers, beating back across. Drive, score! The North Stars have scored with 4 seconds to go and have tied the game. Now it was on to overtime in the afternoon. And that's when Flyers coach Paul Holmgren finally saw something that made his day. It is picked up by Tocchet, shoveled on to Eklund with 15 seconds to go. Has Bullard flying down the wing, looks to him. Eklund feeds one across to Bullard, score! In overtime, 7-6 Flyers. The morning madness was over. A win's a win, and the Flyers would take it anytime. Now the Prudential presents Future Stars. Build your future on the Rock. Meet 23-year-old Mike Richter of the New York Rangers, who was named NHL Rookie of the Month for January, a period in which he lost only once in 7 starts. With a goals against average under 3, Richter helped the Rangers snap their worst slump of the season. Building a bright future in New York, rookie goalie Mike Richter.
1989, the year the Sea of Red became the Sea of Champions. Now get Sea of Champions, the
A case for the defense in Montreal. Pat Burns and his Canadians engaged in a fierce struggle with Rick Dudley's Buffalo Sabres. One goal would decide it all, and it came from the stick of Stéphane Richer, the Habs' leading scorer.
Here's Richer getting it on goal. He scores! Stéphane Richer, his 32nd goal of the season, and the Canadians have taken a 1-0 lead.
The Sabres would be frustrated all night, mainly because goaltender Patrick Waugh was simply royal in the Canadiens' net.
He pushes it ahead to Mogilny. He's got Turgeon with him. The pass, there's the drive, and it comes out in front. And Patrick Waugh stops Polino. There's a long pass. Turgeon's got a breakaway. Right in on goal, and he stops.
Making 30 saves, Waugh recorded his 2nd shutout of the season and now feels that both he and the Habs are on the right track.
Yeah, I'm really happy about my season, you know. When you miss lots of guys at the start, it makes it a little bit tougher for the goalie. And I think Brian and I, we did a good job, and we're pretty happy about the season we got, and hope it continues.
It did continue the next night against the Hartford Whalers, another low-scoring affair. Leading the way, Mike McPhee, who put Montreal up 1-0.
Later, they got some icing on the cake from a sharp cookie, Brent Gilchrist.
He hurries in. Gilchrist shoots.
A 2-0 lead was more than enough for a Montreal club that had given up the second fewest goals in the league. Waugh was on his way to pitching back-to-back shutouts. With 4 points on the weekend, the Habs moved 10 points ahead of fourth-place Hartford and only 2 behind Buffalo and 5 behind Boston, in a division that will definitely need all 80 to decide.
It's going to be a race right down to the last half of the season. Every game is an important game, and they know it. Hopefully we can put together some type of streak and get some momentum. That's all you can hope for. But like you said, it's going to be close. Anything can happen. It's up for grabs.
But no one would blame the Quebec Nordiques if they were already looking ahead to next season. Though it's only February, it's been a long, long year for the Nordiques, a year in which they've taken more than their share of hard knocks. With only 3 wins in their past 31 games, Quebec continues to struggle through the worst of its 11 NHL seasons. Coach Michel Bergeron has been joined behind the Nordique bench by Robbie Ftorek, who came in time to see the club suffer through its worst beating of the year in Washington. No matter how you put it, the Nordiques were blown out.
C'est Gordon qui a bloqué, mais Gordon avait fait le premier geste. Et voilà le but. C'est Lee, c'est bien lui. Voilà Ridley, il est devant Greg Smith. La passe et le but. Dino Lee encore une fois. Lee passe en retrait à Kelly Johansson. Devant pour Corrido. Lee qui marque. Un 4e but. Et voilà le record d'équipe égalé des deux côtés.
Oui, le record est égalé des deux côtés. 3e fois que les Nordiques échappaient à la rondelle alors.
A 4-goal night for Dino Ciccarelli as Quebec was crushed 12-2 by the Caps. And it may get worse before it gets better in old Quebec. Now it's time for the Power Stick Power Puzzle. Mario Lemieux has been in pursuit of the consecutive game scoring record currently held by Wayne Gretzky. The great one first broke the mark when he scored in 29 straight. At the time, whose record did he top? Division. The St. Louis scene is brighter these days. Biggest reason, number 16, Brett Hull, has worked his way to a position as the league's leading goal scorer. No longer an underachiever with superstar genes, Hull's better conditioning means a quicker step and a quicker release of one of the best shots in the game.
I mean, I haven't seen a pure goal scorer like that since I played with Michel Goulet when I broke into the league. Those guys, anything they shoot goes in the net, and Hully's no different.
Just a commitment to the game again. You know, it's knowing you can do it and doing it are two different things. And if you show a little commitment and a little drive towards that goal, you know, you're going to achieve it a lot better.
Joining Hull as an all-star this year, Paul Cavallini. Thus far, the 24-year-old defenseman has put together 28 points, is a steady plus 18, and has shown himself to be an apt pupil ever since breaking into the league in 1986.
I was very fortunate to have a chance to play in Washington with, you know, players like Rod Langway and Scott Stevens, and I think I learned so much just by watching them. I think that's helped me so much in my career.
When the Blues traded a veteran leader like Greg Millen and turned over the goaltending chores to 23-year-old backup Vincent Riendo, a lot of people wondered what was going on. But so far, Riendo has responded to his prime-time opportunity.
In the first couple of games, he was, I think, a little nervous because of the added pressure on him now that he...
Shots in the game.
I mean, I haven't seen a pure goal scorer like that since I played with Michel Goulet when I broke into the league. Those guys, anything they shoot goes in the net, and Hully's no different.
Just a commitment to the game again. You know, it's knowing you can do it and doing it are two different things. And if you show a little commitment and a little drive towards that goal, you know, you're going to achieve it a lot better.
Joining Hull as an all-star this year, Paul Cavallini. Thus far, the 24-year-old defenseman has put together 28 points, is a steady plus 18, and has shown himself to be an apt pupil ever since breaking into the league in 1986.
I was very fortunate to have a chance to play in Washington with, you know, players like Rod Langway and Scott Stevens, and I think I learned so much just by watching them. I think that's helped me so much in my career.
When the Blues traded a veteran leader like Greg Millen and turned over the goaltending chores to 23-year-old backup Vincent Riendo, a lot of people wondered what was going on. But so far, Riendo has responded to his prime-time opportunity.
the first couple of games, he was, I think, a little nervous because of the added pressure on him now that he was the #1 goalie. But in the past month, he's just been, I mean, it looks like Greg and Eddie's standing on his head for us all the time.
Another acrobat is rookie Curtis Joseph, who's only played a few games, but played them very well indeed. Joseph could make it tough for Coach Brian Sutter to pick a #1 goaltender, but tough decisions are what Brian Sutter thrives on. A fixture in St. Louis since beginning his playing career in 1977, Sutter, as coach, preaches and practices the same ethic, hard work.
It's not an easy job by any means, because mentally you got to be on top of things all the time. You're dealing with players individually and then trying to bring them together collectively and motivate them every day. So you got to be on top of your things, but it's a challenge for me, and I enjoy it. Otherwise I wouldn't do it.
Tough as nails. He plays. He coaches just the way he played. Very enthusiastic, very pumped up, and you know, it's a joy to play for a guy like that who's all excited.
Only one sour note for the Blues this year, 6 losses in 6 games with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But at the front end of a home-and-home series, Brett Hull did his best to get St. Louis off the schneid. Hull delivered what proved to be the game-winning goal, which coincidentally just happened to be his 50th of the year. Thus, Brett entered the 50-goal club, joining his father, Bobby. The two Hulls are the only 50-goal father and son tandem in league history. The next night at the Gardens, with Toronto and St. Louis now tied for second place, the Leafs blew the Blues away as Al Iafrate called the tune.
Drop pass to Iafrate. Works in. They score! What a goal by Scott Pearson. Iafrate in the far corner. His pass to center ice for Francis Getty. Works in on Lawler. In the slot to McIntyre. Back to Francis Getty. He scores! Behind the goal for Olchuk. He and Roberts fight for it. Iafrate in there as well. Gets it in front. Iafrate a shot. He scores! Iafrate makes it 4-1, and he has 4 points on the night.
While Iafrate dominated at both ends of the ice, goaltender Alan Bester took care of the 24 square feet behind him.
Picked up by Zezel in the far corner to Brett Hull. A drive on goal, and Bester a save. Oates across the line. Into Momesso, right in on goal. Shoots, big save by Bester.
Final score, Maple Leafs 7, Blues 1. Exactly the way the 8-game season series between the two clubs finished. Now a nice moment on ice, brought to you by Nice Sore Throat Lozenges. Many consider Wayne Gretzky to be the athlete of the 80s. A mixture of speed, skill, and grace, Wayne's assault on the record book has been unrelenting. In 1989, in just his 11th NHL season, the great one became the greatest as he passed Gordie Howe's point total to become the NHL's all-time leading scorer. For Wayne Gretzky, it was truly a nice moment on ice.
These days,
in Los Angeles, the slumping Kings were trying to gear up for the arrival of the first-place Calgary Flames at the start of a long-distance home-and-home series between the two clubs. With the score tied 1-1 in the second period, Al McInnes quickly tallied goals number 19 and 20 to give the Flames a 3-1 lead. But the third period proved to be a very different story.
With it again, sends it into Tonelli in front. Robitaille shoots, save, rebound, score! John Tonelli! Here's Todd Ellen. He moves it up the center to Robinson. Back to Ellen. Ellen across the line on his knees. He shoots and a save. Rebound. Robitaille score! I'll tell you here, the Kings again. Sandstrom to Kadowski. He scores! And the Kings lead 4-3.
A 3-goal comeback meant a bitter loss for the Flames and new life for Mario Gosselin and the Kings, winners in just 3 of their past 10 games. 72 hours later, the same two clubs in Calgary with Cap Rader and Rick Wilson running the Kings bench in place of an ailing Tom Webster. And once again, Calgary was in charge of the early going.
Gilmore down the right side. Gilmore, big zone, in the slot to Mullen. He shoots, he scores!
The Flames held a 3-2 lead going into the third period. But once again, Gretzky and the Kings came charging back.
Over to Gretzky, the right point. Gives it to Duchesne. Down the middle. In front, he shoots, he scores! Steve Duchesne ties the game at 3-3.
Late in the third, Luc Robitaille proved it really pays off when you're both good and lucky.
Alec again shoots and a save. Rebound. Picked up by Taylor. To Alec behind the Blaine net. Alec in front to Robitaille and he scores! And
for the first time tonight. The Kings lead. It's 4-3.
And for the second time in 2 games, the Flames had blown third period leads. For LA, 4 points and a message that the Kings are far from dead. Meanwhile, the Edmonton Oilers were beginning the final leg of an East Coast swing. 3 games in which they sampled a bit of everything. First on the menu, an overtime win against the Washington Capitals, and Jari Kurri made it look easy. Next, a quick trip up the East Coast to pay a visit to New Jersey. But it was the Devils who did the dropping in.
49 seconds on the power play. Abilene opened the shot. Save made. Ranford scores! The rebound is put in by Kirk Muller. Power play goal. 1-0.
Ranford's down, and he is not moving. Well, what an effort by Kirk Muller, but I think possibly Huddy and Muller landed on top of Ranford as he went down.
Ranford was out with a concussion, and that meant the first NHL appearance of the season for Pokey Reddick. In his Oilers debut, Reddick was ready.
In front, Sundstrom. Ruotsalainen shot. Saved by Reddick, and he bats it up in the air.
Pokey protected a 2-1 lead until the last seconds of the game. That's when Craig McTavish made a slip.
Covered the puck up with a glove, and you can't do that. And McTavish is going to go, and the Devils will have a 2-man advantage now with their goaltender pulled. John Muckler can't believe Stewart's making that call with 9 seconds left in the game.
But he did make the call, and the Devils now had a chance on the faceoff.
9 seconds left. Devils down by a goal. Driver, the shot, save again. Oh, yeah! Patrick Sundstrom! They tied the game! 1957!
With 3 seconds left, Edmonton saw a point slip away. The game finished 2-2, and the road-weary Warriors had to settle for a tie. Nevertheless, the Oilers were now tied for first in the Smythe and on their way to the city of New York to face the Rangers.
Mark Lamb tied up by Kissio. Broughton takes the puck, heads for the net again. Good effort by Broughton. He just couldn't stuff it in. He was taken down. Nothing called. Broughton scores!
This time, Edmonton was on its way to a hard-fought loss. And the only good news this night was that another long road trip was over. Up next, a little ice time, and this week, that means fun time. Feeling lonely, like you're on the outside looking in, like you're far removed from all the fun? Do you ever feel that sometimes things just aren't turning out your way? Do you feel a little lost and just don't have the same old edge? Well, bucko, these guys prove that you should put on a grin because there are worse places that you could be in.
The net got in the way, and the water bottle. You see Jay lose his balance. The water bottle hit him right in the back of the helmet.
8 ball in the corner pocket. Here it goes.
Here's that hip check as you see Milletta forward trying to play left defense. Barber went wide.
And his elbow or hip, I guess, hit the glass, and that's what shattered it. And all of a sudden, John Chabot realizes, I can't go anywhere. My hand's caught.
We've succeeded in providing you with a little lift. There you go, Stewie, and we'll see you next time on Power Stick Hockey Week.
The Caps defense is healthy again. The nucleus, Scott Stevens leading the way. The Devils open the scoring on the power play. The puck goes to Tommy Albaline, and his sinking wrist shot color, knuckleball color, whatever you want, but it confuses Bob Mason. 1-0 New Jersey. About 2 minutes later, Washington ties it on the power play. The Devils get caught on a line change. Mike Ridley will move in all alone, and he will beat Bourque to the near side, 1-1 after 1. Early in the second, the Capitals take the lead again on the power play. A great pass by Michael Pavanka to Scott Stevens, all alone behind Bourque. Thanks a lot for the help. He misses it, but Ridley puts it in. His second of the game, 2-1 Caps. Just a few minutes later, the Caps take a 2-goal lead. Watch the super pass by Kelly Miller.
Again, they hang Bourque out to dry. Stevens is alone behind him. 3-1 Washington. In the third period, Caps lead 3-2. The Devils storm back. Just watch the great effort by Kurt Muller. He beats Neil Sheehy, then beats Mason through the legs. Game's tied at 3. About 4 minutes to play. Muller brings the puck in over the line, and he tees it up big time. Lets it go and beats Mason. His screamer beats Mason high on the glove side. 4-3 Devils. Pat Sundstrom adds an empty net goal. The final score, 5-3 Muller with a couple of goals and a couple assists. The Devils snap a 5-game winless streak.
Well, the mini slump looks like it's over for the Sabres. Buffalo putting a Band-Aid on the bleeding and now sit just 5 points back of Boston for first overall in the NHL. But you see, the Sabres still aren't exactly peppering the net with goals. They've lit up the red light just 3 times in the last 3 games they've played. Tonight, hoping to light up the New York Rangers a little bit. This game at the odd in Buffalo. Rick Dudley hoping for some more offense from his team. Buffalo gets on the board first period. They get the offense. Ruutu takes the check, feeds Rick Vaive. He scores through the 5-hole, and it's 1-0 Buffalo. New York comes right back, though. Brian Leetch takes the shot on the power play. The save is made by Darren Pupa, but Bernie Nicholls cashes in on the rebound. Game tied at 1-1. Okay, we go to the second period. The Rangers again on the power play. Darren Turcotte shoots. Bernie Nicholls bats it home, his second of the night, and it's 2-1 Rangers. Rookie Ranger goalie Mike Richter keeps his team in front with a 2-man disadvantage. A great save right there. Now in the third period, Benoit Hogue takes it in, takes the hit. He moves in front, though. Great perseverance, and it pays off right there. He finds himself unchecked on the doorstep. It ties the game at 2. Some good hits in the third period. Randy Moller tags the Sabres captain, and Foligno still shaking his head, getting out the cobwebs. With seconds left in the game now, looks like overtime. Pierre Turgeon shoots, gets himself in good position for the rebound, and bangs it home with just 6 seconds to go on the clock. Buffalo squeaking one out over their former coach, Roger Nielsen. 3-2 the final score here. The Sabres defeating the Rangers.
The only other game tonight was in Hartford, the Whalers and the Canucks. Vancouver has had a hard time scoring goals this year. They've got the worst goals for in the league, even worse than the Quebec Nordique. Pat Quinn, the Canucks general manager, knows what they need, a goal scorer, and he's looking to make a deal. He made a deal earlier on this year with the Pittsburgh Penguins, bringing in some size. And the Canucks need people who can go to the net. Early in the first period, Vladimir Krutov gets over the line, shoots it. Big Dave Capuano, who came over from Pittsburgh, goes to the net. He beats Sidorkiewicz for his second goal of the year, and the Canucks led 1-0. But things slow down after that. Capuano has another chance in the first period, muscles his way in, but Sidorkiewicz makes the big stop. Still 1-0. Stephen Weeks is solid in net for the Canucks. Scott Young gets this chance in the second period, but Weeks comes through big. Watch this. The shot goes. Weeks makes a stop, but he's looking around for the puck and then realizes, yeah, I've got it. Still 1-0 after 2 periods. The Canucks find the net in the third. Doug Lidster will take the shot from the point. Rob Murphy deflects it for his first NHL goal. The Canucks led 2-0. Then Trevor Linden sets up a pair of goals. This one in the second. He takes the hit at the blue line, but in doing so, he feeds to Dan Quinn, also from Pittsburgh. Quinn puts it in the open net, his 18th goal of the year. He's scored in 5 straight games. He's now the Canucks' leading scorer. The Canucks have won 3 straight games. Trevor Linden with 2 assists and a 4-1 final score. The Whalers' 4-game unbeaten streak ends. Pittsburgh Penguin goalie Tom Barrasso will be out of the lineup indefinitely. Barrasso is on his way to Los Angeles to be with his wife and his 2.5-year-old daughter, Ashley. Ashley was diagnosed as having cancer last summer. According to doctors, her condition is getting worse, and she may need a bone marrow transplant.
Well, move over anyway.
Right now, and we have to get back to square one, start from our end and work our way down to the other end.
You know, maybe we have a tendency to look to Gretz to carry our team, and that's putting, you know, pressure that he's had all his career, but maybe it's a...
On October 23rd, the Gardens in Toronto. A big brawl. Everyone got in on the act, even the goalies, Mark LaForest and Sean Burke. Part 2, January 26th, this time in New Jersey. More rough stuff. Fetisov clipped Clark. Later in the game, Clark dropped Fetisov with a straight right to the face, but Clark is out for the season with a knee injury. On Saturday night, back in the Gardens, Battle Royal 3. And you know, neither the Leafs nor their fans have forgotten what Fetisov did to Clark. A little payback, maybe. Early in the first period, the Leafs are thinking offense. The Devils just aren't thinking. Bourque makes a bad clearing pass. Gary Lehman picks up the puck, beats Bourque for his 40th goal of the year, 1-0 Leafs. Then it starts. John Kordic tries to check Fetisov. So Troy Crowder goes after Kordic. Crowder was brought out of retirement specifically for this game and specifically to do this. And he does pretty well. After that, Jim Korn beats on Brian Curran. Korn gets 5 minutes in the game and then goes after a fan who went after Korn. Both Korn and the fan go after the game. Actually, they go out of the game. Things settled down in the second period. Gary Leeman kept going, taking advantage of a funny hop off the boards to beat Bourque. His 41st goal of the year. It's 2-0 Leafs. They led 3-1 after 2. And the Leafs keep going to third. With the Devils on the power play, Lou Francis Spaghetti goes around the net, centers to John McIntyre. McIntyre scores his 5th. It's 4-2 Leafs. Alan Bester outstanding the net, but no one can stop this onslaught. Patrick Sundstrom shooting. Sylvain Turgeon finally pops in the rebound for Bester. 26th goal of the year, 4-3 for the Leafs. Less than 2 minutes in the game. Most of the Leafs in the penalty box. Devils with a 5-on-3. Brendan Shanahan pops in the second of the night. That makes it 5-4. But the Leafs hold on to go on to win this one by a final of 5-4. The Leafs are now unbeaten in 8 games at home. If only they could play well on the road, they'd be all right. On to Pat Burns and the Canadiens hosting the Hartford Whalers. Hartford playing great on the road. Montreal great at home. Montreal opened the scoring. Guy Carbonneau leads the way. Takes both of the defenders. Then Mike Maphee comes in and slides the loose puck behind Lemieux, his 13th of the year. The Habs leading 2-0. Hartford gets on the board early in the second. Patrick Roy stops Ray Ferraro's first shot. But Ferraro puts in the rebound. It's 2-1 Montreal. Midway through the second, Montreal scored a couple of really soft goals. First, Matthew Snyder scores from well outside the blue line. What was Lemieux looking at? 3-1 Montreal. Then Claude Lemieux comes down the right side and goes through the 5-hole. And Hartford fans are saying, get him out of there. And they heard that, and in comes Pete Sidorkowicz. Sidorkowicz comes in, and Lemieux, well, he whines and cries about the bad night he had. With the score, 4-2 Montreal. Brent Gilchrist comes in. He crosses the Whaler line and beats Sidorkowicz just inside the far post. Montreal led 5-2 at that point. They go on to win this one easily, 7-3 over the Hartford Whalers. In the form Montreal, Claude Lemieux, 2 goals and an assist.
Well, fighting was contagious in the NHL on Saturday night. It's stretched from Montreal to Toronto all the way to the West Coast and Los Angeles as the Kings mixed it up with the Quebec Nordique. And, of course, this also meant that it was Robbie Ftorek making a return to the forum, this time behind the Nordique bench. First period, Kings open the scoring. Gretzky, Kasper, 2-on-1. Gretzky to Kasper. Beats Scott Gordon, 1-0 Kings. Still in the first, Kings on the power play. Gretzky with another nice pass in front of Jonathan Ellie. No mistake. 24th of the year for him. 2-0 LA after 1. Second period, a heavyweight tilt. Yeah, I mentioned it before. Here's the fighting, folks. Marty McSorley and Quebec's Ken McCrae give the decision to McSorley in this one. With the Kings on the power play, Luc Robitaille celebrates his 24th birthday when he picks up the loose puck and scores his 41st of the year, and LA is up. It's now 3-0. Third period, Kings put this game out of reach. Gretzky and Thomas Sandstrom on yet another 2-on-1. This time Gretzky beats Gordon, his 32nd goal of the year. LA breaks a 5-game losing streak as they rout Quebec. The final there was 7-1. Next, the Hawks and the Islanders. This was a Saturday afternoon matinee physical game. Mick Vukota takes out Hawks goalie Jacques Cloutier. Then Dave Manson takes out Vukota. Later in the first period, it's Ken Baumgartner and Dwayne Sutter. They go at it. Everyone gets involved in this one. You talk about your battle royales. Here's one for you. The Islanders open the scoring with just 4 seconds left in the first period. Randy Wood feeds Gary Nyland. His shot is tipped in front by Brent Sutter. It's a power play goal, and it's 1-0 New York. Chicago ties the score early in the second. Well, on the power play, Doug Wilson takes the shot. The rebound goes to Steve Thomas on the doorstep. He puts it in to the open net. We're tied at 1. On to the third period now. Score still tied. Brent Sutter gets in close, makes a move, but can't get the shot away. Cloutier with the big save. Then, midway through the period, Sutter with the breakaway. Cloutier robs him again and robs him on the rebound. Cloutier keeping Chicago in this game. Minutes later, the Islanders are sloppy in their own end. Loose puck comes out in front. Greg Gilbert bangs it home, his 9th of the year. It's 2-1 Hawks. Late in the third now, Sutter with yet another chance to score. Great chance. But again, Cloutier there to rob him. Chicago wins it 3-1. The Hawks outshot the Islanders 45-22. St. Louis over Detroit 6-1. The Golden Brett, 56th goal of the year, the most his father Bobby ever had. Bobby was 58. You know.
The NHL has lost another of its greats. Clarence Happ-Day was a big part of the Toronto Maple Leafs in their heyday. He was involved.
They picked a bad time to fall into a slump. They were 3 points behind Calgary in the Smythe division when the day began, but they had managed just 3 wins in their last 10 games and were riding a 2-game winless streak as they hosted the Minnesota North Stars tonight. The Stars were also struggling, losing 6 of their last 8 games. And Hart Trophy candidate Mark Messier and the Oilers looking to continue their streak of good luck against Minnesota. First period, Messier opens the scoring, beats John Casey, his 34th of the year. It's 1-0 Oilers. Then, with Edmonton on the power play, Stars get a shorthanded goal. Mike Gartner pokes the puck past Pokey Reddick, his 34th of the year. Game is tied at 1 after 1. Second period, Mike Modano streaks down the left side, will let go the blast. Reddick gets a piece of it, but not enough. Modano's 25th. It's 2-1 Stars. Now, late in the second, the Oilers tie the score. Messier centers to Tikkanen. He tips it past Casey. 2-2 after 2. Third period now, and the Oilers on the power play. Glenn Anderson passes to Yuri Curry. Curry beats Casey with the quick release. 31st of the year for him. Oilers down Minnesota. The final score over there was 3-2. The Stars haven't beat Edmonton since October 24th, 1980. Their record in that time, 0-13-3. Elsewhere, a couple Smythe Division teams here. Winnipeg putting it to Calgary 5-1. Flames outshot the Jets 33-23 in this game. Stefan Beauregard was in between the pipes for Winnipeg.
How bad are the Quebec Nordiques? Well, they're so bad that 3 teams in the Adams division have already clinched a playoff spot. They're the only team in the league so far to do that. Boston, Montreal, and Buffalo are in. The only team not in the division that is not guaranteed a spot are the Whalers. But that is just a matter of time. Tonight, Hartford actually was in Buffalo, and one of the Whalers' biggest fans was in the crowd. And who was that? Well, he took his $167,000 check. That was Yvonne Lendl. Hartford leading 1-0, and just 10 seconds into the second period, Randy Cunneyworth dives past Uwe Krupp, beats Darren Pupa, 2-0 Whalers. The Sabres come within 1, but just 30 seconds later, Darren Pupa's glove lets him down. This shot is going wide. Pupa will snag it, but he can't hang on to it. He should have let it go because David Babbage gets his 4th goal thanks to it. It's 3-1 Hartford. The Whalers have taken a beating lately last night in Montreal, and things get rough a little here. Look at this. Scott Young gets messed up courtesy of Mike Foligno. There's a lot of blood there, but the Sabres get their lumps too. Mike Ramsey gets his bell rung. Tommy Martin elbows him into the glass, and he hits his face hard in that. Martin is given a 5-minute major, but shorthanded. The Whalers put it away. Dean Evison races in on Pupa. Todd Krieger picks up the rebound and stuffs it in. 5-2 Hartford. Dave Anderychuk got a couple of late goals, but it wasn't enough. Hartford goes on to win this one by a final score. Anderychuk finishes with 2 goals and an assist in that game. Kirk McLean has a tough time in the first period against the Bruins in net for the Vancouver Canucks. The Bruins have a lot of great chances, especially Bob Sweeney. But McLean stones him on the partial breakaway. Nice kick out. Still no score, but the Bruins get a power play goal. Ray Bourque shoots from the point. Craig Janney tips it in, and the Bruins led 1-0. Not much chance for him there. Late in the first period, another Bruins goal. Bourque from the point is stopped, but Sweeney is there for the rebound. Nobody had him. He puts it in. The Bruins led 2-0 after 1, and they're into the second period right now. Boston continues to lead by a score of 2-0.
Well, you can expect the Patrick Division race to go right down to the wire this year. Only 8 points separate the first-place Islanders from the last-place Flyers. Philly was trying to narrow that gap as they hosted the New York Islanders on Sunday afternoon at the Spectrum. Flyers hadn't lost to the Islanders at all this season. Ron Hextall in his first start since November 14th, and the Islanders are quick to welcome him back. Pat LaFontaine spots Derek King. King gets his 10th of the season, and it's 1-0 New York. We go to the third period now, and it's now 2-1 Islanders. New York defender Doug Crossman leaves Tim Kerr all alone. He beats Mark Fitzpatrick, and this game is tied at 2. Al Arbour doesn't like what he sees. His Islanders haven't won in the Spectrum since 1987, and the drought continues. Rick Tocchet to Shell Samuelson. Fitzpatrick goes down. Shell goes up. It's 3-2 Flyers. New York comes back, but Hextall shuts the door. Flyer fans are glad he's back. Look at the save he makes on that shot. Ron Hextall grabs his 100th career victory as worst beats first in the Patrick Division. 3-2. The final score in this one. Hextall again with his 100th career victory in the NHL. This guy tempting some fate, putting up this sign in Chicago Stadium. Let's go Pens. Wonder who he's cheering for. Let's pick things up with the score 2-1 Hawks. Second period. Mark Ritchie was down on the breakaway. Great move, beating Alain Chevrier. Pens tie the score at 2. But Steve Thomas puts the Hawks back in front on the power play. Backhand here for his 29th of the year. And that makes the score 3-2 Hawks. Now with Chicago up 4-2 nearing the end of the second, Barry Peterson feeds Kevin Stevens. And Stevens will get the goal. Hawks lead is cut to 1. In the third period, Jeremy Roenick spins around, passes to Steve Larmer. He scores his 23rd. Chicago up 5-3. Then things got just a little bit rough. Wayne Van Dorp hits Barry Peterson. That instigated the gathering of the clan here. Some pushing, pulling, punching, you name it. The teams trade goals. Hawks leading 6-4. Alain Chevrier did the rest, robbing John Cullen here with a 2-on-1. Great save to preserve the Chicago win. Make the final in this one 6-4 Chicago over Pittsburgh. Larmer with 2 goals and an assist.
And his backup, Mario Gosselin, who has been seeing a lion's share of the work for this